All right, what is up, everybody? REI Marketing Nerds. This is Daniel Baird here from AdWordsNerds.com. As always, if you need to talk to somebody about fixing up and improving and just nailing your online marketing for motivated seller leads, that's where you go. It's AdWordsNerds.com. Now, let's talk about. Can you see this? Let's talk about this. Game theory. Let's talk about game theory. Let's talk about the game theory of real estate investing. And if you are immediately turned off by me saying that, pretend I said something else. But I want to talk about this because it's going to be a useful mental model for you. And you can apply this all over your life, but I'm going to help you apply it directly to what you are doing for real estate investing. Okay. First of all, quick description. What is game theory? Game theory is this really fascinating field of mathematics that studies games, and a game can be anything. It could be like the prisoner's dilemma, which you may have heard of. It could be you're in a bidding war or in an auction for something. Could be the stock market. There are all sorts of things where game theory applies. And basically game theory is any situation where there's uncertainty, any situation in which you stop playing the game specifically and you start playing the players. Now, if that sounds familiar, that's because real estate investing, in many cases, and specifically real estate investing marketing, and really when you look at advertising channels like, for example, Google AdWords, or you're looking at Facebook ads, or even direct mail, or even when you show up to a seller's house and you have to make an offer and there are multiple investors that are making offers on that property, game theory applies. Well, why does it apply? Well, if you think about, let's think about just the example of showing up to a seller's house and having to make an offer. Well, if you're going to make a certain amount of money, right, at a certain price, okay, yeah, you can just say, hey, I have a flat rule. I always bid this amount. So let's say you're like, cool, I always build in whatever 30% profit margin on whatever I think the house is worth plus whatever it's going to cost me to fix it up. You do the math, whatever you think your rule is. Okay, and if, let's say you know that other players also have similar rules. Well, do you then undercut? Do you undercut their bid? Because if you lower your bid, you're going to make less money, but perhaps you're more likely to get the deal. But then what if they think you're going to do that and they also lower their bids and everybody starts to lower their bids against each other? There's all these sort of things that go into play. Game theory helps us figure out what works most of the time in those situations. So fascinating subject. Highly recommend that you go check it out. Here is how this immediately applies right now. I'm seeing this right now in Google Ads. In Google Ads, the way you want to think about it is when you go into Google, you type in Sell My House Fast or whatever it is. At the top 4 spaces are typically going to be ads for real estate. Okay, and then you got more ads down at the bottom 4. So you want to think about it's kind of like a hamburger, right? The 2 buns are the ads. Okay, the top 4, the bottom 4 spots. And then the middle, you've got the organic search results. This is everything that goes into search engine optimization, yada, yada. Okay, but let's just focus on the ads. Now, most of the time, you're going to want to be in the top 4, right? Because most people don't scroll down all the way to the bottom of the Google search results. They find what they're looking for before that, so they end up clicking somewhere between the top 4 and let's say the middle 5 or whatever it is. So we want to be at the top 4. Now, even within the top 4, generally we want to be at the top spot. Why do we want to be at the top spot? Well, more people click the top ad, right? So if you're the first ad, you're generally going to get more clicks if you are in that top position, right? Makes sense, okay? So there are various reasons that go into that. I won't get into the technical specifics or whatever, but just assume that I'm right. Assume that I know what I'm talking about, right? Top spot gets the most clicks. All right, so top 4 spots, we want to be in the top 4, but we also want to be in the top spot. Okay, now here's the thing. Google Ads is an auction. What does that mean? It means people are bidding different amounts. And generally, not always, but generally, the highest bid is going to be in the top position. Okay, so we're setting up an auction situation. We don't know what the other players, let's say, are going to bid. And we have to figure out the optimal amount that we're going to bid. And the more that we bid, generally, the better the performance. Now, here's a really interesting thing. What happens is that investors are competitive. I think you would probably agree most investors have a competitive streak. There's something about the beginning of the deal that makes this whole thing appealing to most real estate investors. So what ends up happening is that most investors look at this situation inside Google Ads and they say, okay, the name of the game is get the top spot. That's the name of the game. Get the top spot. What do I have to do to dominate my market? These are one of the most common things that real estate investors ask me. Literally the words, dominate my market. I hear them all the time. Well, the interesting thing is that, yeah, if your strategy is I need to dominate the market, meaning I need to be first, I need to be on top, it's a competitive game, I need to be on top, then yeah, you're just going to bid and bid and bid and bid and bid. But the problem is other players do that too. So you think, okay, let's say I want to spend $10 a click, but I want to be on top, so I'm going to bid 20. If your competition also thinks that, they think, well, I want to bid 10, but I'm going to bid 20 so I can get on top. You just stayed exactly equal. Now you're like, well, I bid 20, but I didn't get to the top. I'm still in competition with that jerk down the street. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bid 40. But what if they do the same? And then you do the same, and then they do the same, and then you do the same, and then they do the same. And all of a sudden, you get exactly what I see in market after market after market after market, which is outrageously priced clicks from Google in the very top spot. Now, game theory predicts that this will happen. This is a very, very, very predictable outcome. But here is the interesting thing that I will tell you this, almost no one knows this. Almost no one knows this. I'm going to reveal a secret to you. This is a secret. We literally spent hundreds of thousands of dollars at AdWords Nerds, AdWordsNerds.com. Hundreds of thousands of dollars spread over hundreds of clients to learn this fact. And know it. It is a fact. You ready? Most people that click the top ad, okay, most people that click the top ad also click the second ad. So I want to say that again. Most people that click the first ad. For motivated sellers, I'm not talking about any other market other than real estate investing, motivated sellers, okay? Most motivated sellers that are going to click the top ad will also click the second ad. Now here's the thing. The second ad is very often less than 30%, well, let's say less than 50% of the price of the top ad. I'm going to say this again. Most people that click the top ad will also click the second ad, but the second ad is many times cheaper than 50% of what the first ad costs. Now, what does this mean? It means if you draw a diagram, you draw a line, right, where your performance is improving and your cost is increasing at the same time, there is an ideal point at which those lines intersect. That is the most efficient point at which you can attain motivated seller leads. And across the country, again, every market's different, every investor is different. So I'm not saying anything about your market necessarily specifically. But if you look at all the data across everybody, where is the optimal point? Where is the most efficient point? The point at which we can get deals at the highest performance point, but also at the most efficient cost? It is position 2.5. Not position 1, position 2.5. Meaning we're bouncing between 1, 2, and 3. Why is this? Well, it is because we are opting out of the I need to dominate my market campaign. We're opting out of the competitive game. We're saying, look, I know everybody else is competing for the top spot. This is where game theory comes in. If everybody else is competing for the top spot, maybe I can get a premium on the second spot. And it turns out this is exactly what you see. Now, is that going to be true forever? No. What does game theory tell us? Game theory is going to tell us that sooner or later, everyone's going to figure that out. They're all going to change their strategy. And then we'll have to change our strategy again. Maybe if everybody starts competing for spot number 2, we start competing for spot number 1 again. It's all about being a step ahead, not necessarily what the specific step is. I hope that makes sense, but I see this literally every single day in almost every market in the country. And so here's the thing I want you to take away from this, and the thing I really want you to think about. When you get into a competitive market and a competitive game, marketing for real estate investors is a competitive game. Getting deals, competitive game. Making offers, competitive game. When you get into a competitive game, you are not playing the game. You are playing the players. And if you can figure that out, you are going to be one of a very, very, very small number who understand it. I hope that makes sense. I hope you are having a wonderful day. Like I said, if you need any help with your online marketing strategy, SEO, PPC, Facebook ads, Bing ads, we got it. We do it. AdWordsNerds.com. Go there, fill out a quick application, jump on the phone with our team. We'll be happy to put a strategy together for you for free. This is Daniel Bear from AdWords Nerds signing off. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye, everybody. Cheers.